got no reason. But that I must. Maybe I'm feeling like I've been gathering dust. I must leave this harbor for the sea. I'm too young to settle down and make a home. I don't know where I'm wanting to be. I just know I have to be there alone. Store my time.
Of it from the beginning. I think a lot of my musical influences came from you.
Really?
Beatles,
Oh.
Simon and Garfunkel. I wouldn't have heard those guys if I hadn't heard them at your house.
Yeah, my father had a nice record collection. So.
But then I think it was Wes that got us into Pink Floyd,
Zeppelin,
Zappa,
yeah.
Frank Zappa. I wish we did more Zappa stuff.
Because you were, what was you?
Well, I grew up in choir, and you were in choirs for a long time, for at least elementary school. I don't know if you were.
Was Shamrocks the first choir that you were in? It was the first choir I was
Yes.
in.
Yes.
Other than,
because that was elementary school.
Yeah.
So we were in our first choir together. Let's see, choir. We then went to different middle schools. So I don't know what he did over there, but I stayed involved sort of in music, in choir, until I got kicked out. Because it's really early. But I was the first bass that choir had.
Even back then.
My voice dropped. But then it was funny because soon after I was just the first, and then like the next couple of weeks there were a couple. Okay, you're a bass and you're a bass. But then it was just too early, and I kept being late. I had a big problem with tardiness.
I know he used to meet me on the way to school because my house was between his and the school, so I'd wait for him to get there, and sometimes he'd be like, "Do I have just 3 minutes to run across the field?" But it's funny. So when I went off to middle school, I think that was the point I was asked to be part of the children's choir, the University of Oregon Children's Choir.
That's right.
And I was a first soprano there. So my sister was an alto. And so at some point my voice dropped. Well, the reason I didn't go back to it actually is because you had to think of a song to sort of audition with every year. I couldn't be bothered to think of a song that year, and that was the year they went to London. So, I felt pretty bad about being out of it by then.
I remember when I was in high school, I was up at the World's Fair, and what was her name? My voice teacher was one of the directors. I took singing lessons privately from one of the ladies that directed the children's theater, but I can't remember her name now.
Cindy something. No.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah.
But then we also took piano lessons from the same teacher.
Yeah, I started for a while, and then you came in a few years after I was playing?
It must have been a few years after, and then I didn't take them for as long, because I think I was no longer taking them when you still were.
I took them for 10 years.
I think I tried a different piano teacher first. She taught me how to play a chord, how to put together a chord, and that was my first music theory. And I just started improvising on piano. I just started messing around, finding my own things. But then, I had such a crush on a piano teacher.
Yeah, we had some recitals too. And at the time we were both taking lessons, we did a recital where I played Here, There, and Everywhere. the Beatles song you sang.
Really? I didn't remember that you sang.
Yes, that's what you sang on, yeah.
I remember doing some Mannheim Steamroller duet.
Yeah, we had some
did a piano
duets
duet
for Fresh Air.
And my mom's big comment was, we were the oldest kids, and all the younger kids were before us. And my mom's comment was that, well, all the younger kids played first, and then their parents just grabbed the kid and left, so nobody was in the room to hear you guys. And that's sort of been the general gist of my career musically. Actually, is I play late or before the actual crowd of people are actually in the room. That's my musical career.
You stayed. Oh, that's so nice of you.
Hey, Tootsie and the Rosa and Shannon and Maurice. Yes, we have...
And over on this side, I got a Trin, a Candy, and a Felix.
Cool.
Neato.
Neato. Like that word.
That's keen.
It's a step above spiffy.
Oh, I like spiffy, but I sort of like customizing a hot rod. I customized the word spiffy.
Oh, you do?
To spiffylicious.
Spiffylicious.
Spiffylicious. That's really good. You got to use that for really good things, though. Don't go using that weird. All right. Wish I could just open up my eyes and see all the beauty that surrounds me, but all that's in my head is what if I made...
I got into Second Life first, June
It didn't take any
2005.
convincing. I was watching over your
Yeah.
shoulder for a week.
Well, I did it. Back then you had to pay for it, and so you got and they had a 3-day trial, and it was going to be
It was a week-long
Memorial
trial.
Day. Well, no, mine was 3 days.
Really?
Yeah, and
They changed it in a week.
I don't know, because I had 3 days tried out, and I had a 3-day holiday coming up, and I thought, perfect, I'll have all 3 days off. I'll know by the end of the 3 days if I really like it, and then I could back out of it and not pay them the $9.95 you had to do a month for it. So, but I liked it so much the second
just
day.
a one-time fee.
Oh, that's right, it was one-time fee.
One-time fee.
But then I liked it so much I became a registered paid landowner the second day. I liked it that much. I thought, well, fine. This is exactly what I was looking for. I've been looking for something casual that was multiplayer. And someone told me Star Wars universe had a way you could be a bartender. And I thought, oh, that's great. You can be in an online universe and meet people and have fun socially and stuff, and not have to actually play all the stupid little game parts. And then Second Life came, I was like, oh, this is it. This is just what I was looking for. This is what I really wanted. This is perfect. And so I took a vacation, I think, within a couple months in Second Life. I took time off work and just was in Second Life the whole time.
I watched over his shoulder for like a week, and I tried to decide, can I afford $10? Because I was living off of about $10 a week at the time. I was watching him on the roof of the Elbow Room watching Mystery Science Theater 3000, and I'm like, wow, those are real people. And you can look like whatever you want.
And we were talking about the movie and everything.
And you're interacting and watching a movie together with people all over the world. I'm like, wow, that's really amazing. And I'm like, I've got to try it. So I lived on a little less ramen for a week. And yeah, it was a very good decision. I fought against the name from early childhood, because when I was in elementary school, my name being Jeremy, I would get Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog sung at me, and it really bothered me until one day I was able to differentiate between an action and the intent behind the action, and I realized that it was because they were singing the song at me to hurt my feelings. That's what hurt my feelings. So I learned the rest of the song. And so they'd start the song and I'd finish it. And so I just stole their power, basically, by learning, it's like, it doesn't bother me. It still bothered me that they were trying to bother me. But at least I took that weapon from them. So I still never wanted to be called Frogg at that point. And I'm not sure exactly when things started to change. So I had this voice, and this girl I'd been with had been giving me little gifts of frog things, and that was around the time that I started. Maybe okay, well, I can be okay with frogs, and the song that came out of that voice was. This is a story about a man named Frog. He don't know where he belongs. I just recently put new music to it because it was an a cappella song. For 5 years, all I wrote was a cappella songs. And so I sang, but this was the first song that I wrote, so I sang it over and over and over again. It really bothered my housemates at the time. They hated it. They hated me at the end of it. But the name Frog started sticking because it was... In the process of moving back to Eugene from Salem, I ended up not getting the house that I was promised and not getting the job that I was promised. And I ended up living on the street for about 2 months. And but during those 2 months, I wrote like 20 songs. I was playing harmonica and hand drums and writing songs. And one night sleeping under an awning with a bunch of other hippies, rainbow family that were lost from the rainbow gathering or something. I think at that point I was saying, well, some people call me Frog. And this guy, this little old guy, he puts his hand on my chest and says, your rainbow name is Frog.
That's good. I don't think I ever heard that.
So I think that from that point onward, I'm just like, well, you can call me Frog.
It's my turn to take a little break, which is good.
Okie dokie.
Which
is good because you can use a towel.
It's that point of the show where I need to dry off.
Yes.
What am I looking for? Oh yeah. I will be back in a little while. Jaycatt will keep you entertained because if we don't, we all get to make fun of him. There
Yay.
we go. See,
oh, I don't.
see?
Do I?
I got
do I get
creative.
to make fun of my...
Yes.
Oh, good.
That's
Well,
essential.
this is-
You have to make
okay.
fun of yourself.
Okay. So it's like a self-roast as well.
Well, I have always had, since I was about 10 years old, the nickname Jaycatt. To the point where it was a name given to me by my father. I say because of Johnny Cat litter. My first name's John.
No, that's what I say. He said it was just because you were John and he had the cat.
That's right. Well, he said it because I was sneaky like a cat.
Oh, is that what it was?
It was when we were
I'm the
camping.
one that convinced you that it was because of the cat litter.
But anyway, so I had the nickname, and my father and I even started a event management services called Jaycatt Event Management. We just even used the name for that. So it's been around for a long, long time. And so when it comes time to use anything online, an email, a sign-in, anything, I usually use Jaycatt. I think, well, it's a nickname. Why not use a nickname? And so I used that. When I got into Second Life, I noticed probably the first day or the second day I saw someone in like a dog avatar. And I found out where they got it. It was a little island that with an avatar shop that looked like Target called Dwellget. And I went in there and they had cats. And I thought, okay, yeah, cat sounds good because I'm Jaycatt. I thought, well, I want to look like a cat. That'll be fun. And I picked the colors because I have a tortoiseshell cat, really old now. She's still alive, amazing. But she's like 20 years old now. But I had her since like 92. And she had tortoiseshell colors, and the closest thing I could find was Siamese to those matching colors, to browns and blacks and tans and stuff. So I picked Siamese, and then just decided to stay with it the whole rest of the time, really. So I rarely ever put on another avatar unless it's just to joke around and try something neat for a half hour. If let's say Second Life was taken offline, I would still want to try to do it because I enjoy it. I mean, it would be more fun to have an audience. We could do it on our own, but then it wouldn't feel like, it'd be nice. But so I would probably be dragging you out to more open nights and things because we'd actually have the time.
Oh my God!
Then,
Now
too.
I want to go blow up Second Life.
I'll tell you
I've been trying to get him to play out for years. Before Second Life, I was trying to get him to come to the open mic that I ran.
I came once in a while. It just very
Yeah,
far
but you
away
never
from
played.
me. No, I never played. No.
You never played.
Oh, I was too way
yeah.
too stage fright for
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But
Now though,
I have a long, extensive history of live performance in public meet space, so to speak. My first real experience as a musician, though, as a working musician, was in, oddly enough, an Italian restaurant in Mexico with a Dutch guitarist.
sounds like some bad joke.
I know. It totally does. I was only playing hand drums and harmonica and singing on an occasional song. But we had this gig playing 5 hours a day, 5 days a week for a month during this big international arts festival. And that was my first experience as a working performer.
I guess it's time I run far, far away. Find comfort in pain. All pleasure's the same. It just keeps me from trouble. Hides my true shape like Dorian Gray. I heard what they say, but I'm not here for trouble.
We are who we are.
I never saw a reason to play a character.
Same here.
I'm just myself, you know.
Yeah.
I may look different because of the cat, though, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's just because it's fun, you know.
Yeah.
Really. I didn't start out a furry when I picked the cat. I mean, I eventually became one, but
I think I stayed in the same avatar because somebody convinced me very early on that having a familiar look it was important. And I think I just lucked into the iconic aspect of it. Just the hat, no face. Big purple guitar, big feet.
How I wish I could choose between heaven and hell. How I wish I could save my soul. I'm so cold from fear. I
That's where
guess
that lack of ambition comes from.
well, I always hoped you'd make it in music, and it seems like it's not ideal, but you have. You know,
Yeah,
that's what I
well,
think is the coolest
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, I know we could take it further. I know
Yeah.
we could expand. But I know where his comfort level is, too.
Yeah, it's
And
tricky.
if
for
it ever
me.
felt like a job for him, he wouldn't want to do it.
And yeah, for me, it does need to be fun. It's because mostly because I have a day job.
far, far away, find comfort in pain. All pleasure's the same, it just keeps me from trouble. It's more than just words, it's just tears and rain. Far, far away, find comfort in pain. All pleasure's the same, it just keeps me from trouble. It's more than just words, it's just tears and rain.